All right, Fernando. My name is Ben. Nice to meet you, and I would love to help you out. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can see what we can do here. All right, let me just adjust a couple things. So there we go. So I went ahead and I copied your HTML so we can take a look at it. And I just want to make sure I get the same behavior here. So we want these buttons to be alerting to different names for the names of the buttons. And we want this to be creating a button. As we can see, this is not working. So my advice to you, when something breaks, the first thing I do is I want to go to my console and I want to see what my errors are. And just a refresher, you're going to right click and inspect to get to your console. We got our elements in our console here. And it looks like we got two errors. So first one is uncaught error, Bootstrap's JavaScript requires jQuery. And then the second one is an unexpected identifier, a syntax error. So we got a typo somewhere. So I would start with the first one. Okay, so we got our Bootstrap's JavaScript is requiring jQuery, but there is no jQuery, is what this error is saying. So my question for you, Fernando, would be, first off, where is this error happening? And if Fernando were to tell me, well, I'm not really sure because this line here is just Bootstrap, I only have an HTML index, I would tell him, okay, well, it's breaking in the Bootstrap package because it's trying to use a jQuery that doesn't exist. This is what our problem is. So Fernando, could you tell me, where do you use Bootstrap JavaScript in your code? Where is that? And I would get some feedback from Fernando. And if he didn't know where it was, I would just kind of guide him until he came to the realization like, oh, okay, yeah, I have this script on line 70. This is where I'm actually using my Bootstrap JavaScript source is right here on line 70. I'll say, okay, perfect. Do you use jQuery anywhere? Are you importing jQuery anywhere? That will be the next question. And again, I would guide him, just make sure, okay, to see if he gets to line 72, where he says, yes, right here, this is what this line is doing. I am getting that jQuery. I was like, okay, perfect. So our issue, for some reason, our Bootstrap is not using that jQuery. And why do you think that is, Fernando? Why? I mean, you have jQuery on line 72. Why is this not working? And I would get his feedback. Depending, if you didn't know why this would be happening, I would guide him to the point that I would say, hey, how does this HTML get read on the computer? Like how does the code get read? And I would want him to be able to tell me it reads from top to bottom. Once we get to that point, I was like, okay, so explain to me what is happening from line 70 to 72. And I would get his feedback again to make sure he understands, okay, we're importing Bootstrap JavaScript, which requires jQuery. And this is being read first because it's higher up on the code. And then we're importing our jQuery, and that this is our problem. So Fernando, we're trying to import this jQuery before we have access to that jQuery. This is what's happening. How can we fix this? How would we make this jQuery get read first before the Bootstrap? And I would want him to come to the realization, oh, well, I probably just need to move this before my Bootstrap so that it gets read first. I would say, perfect, beautiful, Fernando. That makes perfect sense to me. Let's see what happens. So we come back and refresh. Fantastic, that error is gone. So now we just have our syntax error. Fernando, where is this error happening? Where is the syntax problem? And he would say, oh, either he wouldn't know or he would know to look here, but we would eventually get to line 80 on our index.html. Okay, let's go take a look. What's going on there? Uh-oh, line 80, we got some red squigglies. What's going on? And so first I would say, Fernando, what are you trying to do here? Tell me what's going on. And he kind of explained it in the video. He's got this function, this onClick function. He's setting this variable part, to basically the data that's listed up here on this list. and he wants to alert whatever that specific data is for that button. I was like, okay, well, I would ask Fernando, what is the alert? What that alert method take in? What does it need? And he would either immediately realize he's missing a parentheses, or he would say, I don't know. If the latter, I would say, okay, well, go ahead and just hover over alert for me. And what does that say? Unexpected keyword identifier. Look at the function alert and look at the syntax and tell me what the difference is between this, what it's expecting, and what you have. And then I would just kind of guide him until he realized, oh, wait, I'm missing a parentheses here. Let me try that. And then boom, the squigglies go away. Okay, perfect. Let's see what happens. Refresh. Oh, we got a new error. But hey, different error is progress. That means we fixed the previous error. I would say, Fernando, let's go ahead and ignore the warning for now. Yellow, we're not too worried about. We want to deal with the red first. So what does this say? Uncaught type error button.on is not a function at line 77. So Fernando, go ahead and show me line 77. Let's see what we got going on over here. And okay, so again, Fernando, just explain to me what's going on. What is this code doing? And we kind of touched on it briefly on the previous step. So I kind of understand what he's trying to do. And so I would ask him, okay, is this code from line 75 to 81? Is this code in jQuery or is it in JavaScript? And I would need some feedback to see what he says. But on line 75, our $ is indicating to us the following code is jQuery rather than JavaScript, right? And I would make sure he understands that. And then I would say, okay, line 77, is this vanilla JavaScript or is this jQuery? What are we doing here? And since he wrote the code, I would need his feedback to make sure he understands what exactly he wrote. And I would address any issues there depending on what he would tell me. But the bottom line is I would say, okay, I would wait for Fernando to tell me, okay, this is jQuery that I've written. This is not vanilla JavaScript. Say, okay, well, your code is telling the computer that your code is saying this is vanilla JavaScript. And that's why it's not recognizing this. Why is it doing that? What are you missing? How do you make the computer know that it's reading jQuery? And I would get him to get to the point where he says, oh, I need that $ to go ahead and let me, let the computer know that this is going to be in jQuery. And I would say, okay, that makes sense to me. And so let's see what happens. Boom, no errors. Heck yeah, good job, Fernando. Let's see what the buttons do. Okay, cool. We're alerting. Good. We're getting the behavior we want. And then are we creating a new button? Yes, we are. So I would tell Fernando, congratulations, man, good job. You figured it out. I just kind of guided you, but you just be sure to console log, follow the errors. Your errors are your guides to how to fix your problems. And then once you clear your errors, then you have a functioning product. And that's the key. It's just to keep working on those errors. And I would tell them good job and just to keep at it.